Labuschagne, Root and Carlson score tons as Glamorgan run riot against Northamptonshire. Northants had to deal with the disappointment of not making the most of a match-winning position up against Middlesex, but still emerged with 12 points from their season's opener. They travelled to Cardiff looking to reproduce the sort of form seen on days 1 to 3 of their round 1 match, whilst Glamorgan would be hoping that Billy Root could pick up where he'd left off against Cardiff MCCU in their final match ahead of their championship debut in 2019. The home team won the toss and put themselves into bat, with Selman and Hemfrey looking positive from the outset. Both struck early boundaries, but the hosts then suffered a setback when Selman was caught out by Wakely off Buck for 10 in the 8th over of the innings. That brought Marnus Labuschagne to the crease for the first time for Glamorgan, and on championship debut, the 24-year-old was to catch the eye. After settling at the crease, Labuschagne struck his first boundary off the bowling of Muzarabani. He and Hemfrey put on a solid 35 before the opener nicked off to Holder, Rossington with the catch. Lloyd joined Labuschagne out in the middle and the two of them batted through to lunch, honours even at the break with the score 96 for 2. It didn't take long after the interval for the pair to go first past the 100 mark and then to their 50 partnership, but with Lloyd well set, he became the third wicket to fall when he was caught out by Vasconcelos for 31, Muzarabani the bowler. Billy Root, fresh from the success against the Students a week beforehand, came out with confidence oozing. Both he and Labuschagne started to find the boundary with ease. Labuschagne moving to 50. And Glamorgan cruised to their 150 shortly before Root and Labuschagne brought up their 50 partnership, and the runs showed no signs of drying up or slowing down. Labuschagne struck the ball for 4 to secure the first batting point, and a little time later a cut-off Proctor saw the Australian move to 100. He became the 5th Australian and 8th overseas player to reach the milestone on debut for Glamorgan. Root moved past 50, the mark coming off 86 balls and containing 7 boundaries, and at tea Glamorgan were 2 away from securing batting point number 2 on 248 for 3. There was to be no let-up for the Northants bowlers after the interval. Root powered on. Labuschagne's knock finally came to a close when Vasconcelos caught him out off Muzarabani for 121, but the Australian's replacement, Kieran Carlson, came in with a clear mindset of hitting the accelerator pedal. He made 50 off just 55 balls, and the pair raced to a 100 partnership. Root then went to his century, becoming the 13th player in the county's history to achieve a ton on debut, and there was no let-up for Northants as the boundaries kept on piling up, Glamorgan securing maximum batting points before the close. Just after they moved past 400, Carlson made it a golden day for the hosts as he sealed his century, reaching the mark off just 103 balls. 433 for 4 the score at stumps on day 1, a day utterly dominated by the Glamorgan batsmen. Vasconcelos leads Northants back against Glamorgan. The 3 centuries from Labuschagne, Root and Carlson for Glamorgan was the first time the county had enjoyed 3 centurions in an innings for 29 years. The last trio, Messrs Morris, Maynard and a certain I.V. Richards. The latest edition had seen Glamorgan bat themselves into a very dominant position on the opening day of their match with Northamptonshire, and with both Root and Carlson still at the crease, it looked as though day 2 in Cardiff could be equally arduous for the visitors. Root was on 126 overnight, but fell without adding to that tally when he was caught by Vasconcelos off Proctor. It brought Glamorgan skipper Cook to the crease, and he was quickly off the mark. Carlson continued where he'd left off on day 1, and soon the score was past 450. However, moments later Carlson was back in the hutch, caught by Wakely off Buck for a superb and rapid 111. 457 for 6 became 480 for 7 when Wag was bowled by Sanderson for 14. Cook was striking the ball beautifully up the other end, and a glorious punch down the ground off Proctor brought up the 500. De Lange was another batsman to fall cheaply. He was caught by Muzarabani off holder for 12. But that just brought in Van der Gutten, and he was in no mood to hang around, nor was his skipper, who dispatched holder for a huge 6 over square leg to reach his half-century. Rocking along at a runner ball, the pair saw play through to lunch at 570 for 8, which included a partnership of 59 between Cook and Van der Gutten, with the former unbeaten on 70. However, Cook was in no mood to bat after the interval, instead declaring on 570 and giving his bowlers a crack at the Northamptonshire openers. It soon became clear, however, that this was definitely a wicket for the batsman. Ricardo Vasconcelos and Rob Newton opened the batting for the visitors, and after playing themselves in, it was Vasconcelos who looked to move things along with some glorious boundaries, and Vasconcelos was soon celebrating his half-century. He and Newton kept the scoreboard ticking over to tea, reaching the interval having just brought up the 100 partnership. Into the evening, and there was little respite for the home attack. It didn't matter who skipper Cook turned to, Vasconcelos and Newton had the answer. Newton moved to 50, and the team total went past 150. The day was being headlined by Vasconcelos though, and he brought up his 4th first-class century in just the 60th over of the innings. Newton finished the day 85 not out, with Vasconcelos unbeaten on 125. The total 234 without loss, but still 336 runs shy of Glamorgan's first innings total. Batsmen continue to make hay in Cardiff as match heads towards a draw. Cardiff has been a batsman's paradise so far in the game between Glamorgan and Northamptonshire, with 4 centuries and counting. Vasconcelos and Newton resumed on day 3 with the score 234 without loss. Vasconcelos on 125 not out, Newton closing in on a century of his own unbeaten on 85. Early in the morning session, Vasconcelos moved to his highest first-class score when he pulled through mid-wicket to move to 144, and moments later he was past 150. Newton sealed his 15th first-class century before Northants went to 300 and racked up another batting bonus point. However, the opening partnership was finally broken when Newton edged behind off Van der Gutten for 105. Vasconcelos and Wakely stayed together through to lunch though, Northants 343 for 1 at the break. Wakely fell just after the interval, caught behind off Wag for 18. And Vasconcelos' vigil finally came to an end when he was trapped by Labuschagne LBW for 184. 353 for 3 at this stage, Northants were to build another big partnership either side of tea. Cobb and Keogh were the batsmen dominating the Glamorgan attack. Both hit boundaries at will, Cobb moving to 50 with 7 fours and 1 glorious 6. At tea, the score was 445 for 3. Soon into the evening session, the 100 partnership was brought up, but that's where it ended as Cobb fell, caught by Wag off route for 60. Keogh moved to 50 shortly after being joined by Rossington at the crease, and they took the total past 500 thanks to a towering stroke from Rossington. They reached the close on 522 for 4 in a match that now looks certain to be drawn. 150 for Keogh as it ends honours even in Cardiff. Sophia Gardens had proved to be a batsman's paradise for the first 3 days of the match between Glamorgan and Northamptonshire, 5 centuries and counting heading into the final day, with Rob Keogh closing in on becoming the 6th batsman into 3 figures. He started the final day in fine fashion, hitting several boundaries in the opening hour. And in no time the Northants total was above 550, a new high for the county in South Wales. Keogh moved on to complete his 8th first-class century, and with the very next delivery, his partner in crime at the crease, Rossington, moved to 50. Amidst the flurry of milestones, Northants also moved into the lead. 600 came and went before Glamorgan finally broke the partnership, Rossington caught by Hemphrey of Labuschagne for 70, 169 put on for the 5th wicket. The lunch break was taken with Northants 629 for 5. Almost straight after the interval, Holder fell for 3, bowled by Hemphrey. But there was no stopping Keogh as he moved to 150 for the 4th time in his career. In the next over though, it was the end of Keogh, caught and bowled by Labuschagne for exactly that 150 mark. Proctor smashed a huge 6 before he edged to slip off Wag for 27. But Nathan Buck was enjoying the opportunity to spend some time in the middle. He set about building a personal best. As Glamorgan turned to their 10th bowler, the 700 came up, and soon it was the highest ever total conceded by Glamorgan against any opposition in their history. Buck moved to 50 for the first time in his career, but didn't last much longer when he fell LBW to Root for 53. Sanderson and Muzarabani took the total to 750 before the former nicked off to Selman, ending 227.3 overs in the field for Glamorgan. The teams returned for Glamorgan's second innings with the knowledge that this match was only ending with one result. Cobb was able to celebrate a rare wicket when he bowled Selman for 22, but Hemphrey and Labuschagne batted through for a further 9 overs to take the score to 70 for 1 when the skippers shook hands and called it a day. Match drawn then, and both teams walk away with 11 points from the encounter.